What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Friends of Mortgage Heroes. I'm Brian.
I'm Andy.
And today we're thrilled to have an individual who we've had the privilege to see grow and evolve in his real estate career. Our guest is truly somebody that embodies hard work, dedication, and consistency. And one of the things I admire about him the most is that, very authentic and stays true to himself. What you see is literally what you're going to get. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to a good friend, one of our top partner realtors here in Mortgage Heroes, Michael Moyna. Let's go.
Hey. Affectionately known as Triangle Mike in the office.
T-Mike.
He's got his own mug, Triangle Mike, because you're shaped like a triangle because you're so fit. Hey. So, before we jump in, this is something that if you don't know around here, everyone kind of has like a nickname, and so Mikey's is Triangle Mike. He's working out all the time. He's super fit, and he kind of looks like a triangle. So the girls around here and I'll kind of call him Triangle Mike. All my kids call him Triangle Mike, and all of us. So Triangle Mike is on the show today.
And, apologies if I kind of fumbled the intro. It's just so hard trying to put nice things to say about Mike.
Yeah. I noticed there's a lot of empty space on that page.
That looks awfully familiar to a chat GPT prompt, actually.
Yeah, I was like, quick, he's into being fit, consistent. Please give me an intro.
But I actually am really excited for this today because the last time we had you here, you were actually in a completely different role, in a completely different season of your life. And so a lot has changed. So I'm interested to talk about those things. And also, we know kind of what's going on because we see you all the time. But also just for our audience and the people who follow us, I think it's going to be interesting for them to see you in a different capacity. Yeah. And also have that chance to talk about that as well.
Yeah, totally.
So let's get right to it, bro. Give us a little, background. Like, how's everything been? Give us, start, beginning, and where you're at now, man.
So, of course, you guys know, but maybe not everyone knows. I started off in mortgages about in 2021, like June of 2021. And then I was at the first company I was at for maybe 6 months or so. And I already met Will before that. But, he had just met me at the gym. So, of course, I could see why maybe you wouldn't take someone as serious if you just met him at the gym. You don't know yet. I was still new to mortgages as well. So I stayed there for a little bit, try to learn a little bit about mortgages. Kind of stayed in the same place the whole 6 months. I did a couple deals with them, which was, nice. I got to kind of see how it goes down, but I wanted to see more. So then I decided to, I remember one day I was driving back from that office and I'd only been in mortgages for like 3 months. And I was the only one in the office and I was like, whoa, what's going on here? Like, why am I already the only one in the office? I don't really know what I'm doing. Like, something's wrong, So then I called Will that day and I was like, can I come work with you? Like this and that. So he finally said yeah. And then, of course, I joined you guys for a little bit. I think that's where I learned majority of my real estate knowledge, not just in mortgages, but things that have helped me out on the realtor side. Will's even the one that introduced me to wholesaling. So, he's taught me a lot about flipping houses. So, of course, pretty much everything I know, I learned here with you guys
in this office with a variety of people.
Yeah, and it's like I basically never left. I only left for like 3 weeks.
And just came back in. Hey, we got a new agent downstairs.
He just moved his chair. But something before you go on with that story, though, I want to make sure that I say this from more of the a position of having been around here a long time. Like, most people don't hang. That's just the first thing. Yeah. Brian hung and you hung. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that, we have for a long time had people come through and we've helped train and coach and then they just go off. Yeah. But something that was interesting to me is you just never quit, dude. Even though things got hard and, it became difficult, part of real estate for a lot of people is finding their way through it. Yeah. So, there's other folks who were realtors that become lenders. Mm-hmm. And then people that I know that were lenders first, and they're wow, I'm just going to do real estate instead. And then people that have done a title and then the escrow. So there's kind of this maneuverability throughout the industry that I think that's most people might miss. They think, if I just pick this one part in the industry and I don't like it, I'm just going to leave the industry altogether. Yeah. Well, that's not entirely the whole story for everybody. And especially because you two are younger, much younger, I think it's important for people who are in your age group to know that. You can move in and around this industry to various places and find a spot that fits for you.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I appreciate about this industry, that you get in one way, but maybe end up in another round. And that's what this industry brings. There's so many opportunities, like Andy was saying. But Mikey, what was it for you that now looking at looking at it, what was the difference between, doing mortgages and then now transitioning this year into real estate full on?
So, I mean, like I just mentioned, Will's big into investing too. And I would go with them to these meetings. We were in the group with Adrian. Remember Adrian Hernandez group?
Yeah.
A big investor group. And so maybe it wasn't intentional, but Will's the one that actually showed me what wholesaling was. And it really caught my attention. I mean, for lack of a better term, where I was at in my career, it was easier to understand. And I felt it was something that I could actually be good at. I mean, of course, anything you do in real estate, it's going to take time because, it's not easy. If it was easy, then there wouldn't be the need for realtors. There wouldn't be the need for lenders and every other real estate professional. So I feel like I didn't have the loan knowledge yet, and maybe that's why I kind of leaned towards wholesaling just because it's easier to understand. And then I just ended up doing more wholesale deals than mortgages. I mean, it wasn't intentional. It just happened that way.
Yeah.
And then I realized, if I already have my DRE license, why don't I just focus on my backyard, San Diego, that I actually know instead of, I'm trying to do a deal in Texas in the middle of nowhere. I have no idea what the market is like, or I'm trying to do a deal in Florida. I've never been to Florida.
Right.
I don't know what's going on out there.
Yeah.
At least with San Diego, when I'm selling a house here or I'm helping someone buy here, I have a lot of knowledge on it, and I could confidently go out there and get the deal done.
That's good. That's real good.
So it sounds like your confidence is really what drives, a lot of your actions and everything that you do. Where would you say you draw that confidence from?
I mean, just from being the people I'm around, because when I'm around, let's say you guys, Will, my team lead, Mike, Blair, and I see you guys doing it, since I'm around you guys every day, it's like, why can't I? I mean, I know Brian was in my position once, and look at where he's at now. So if I'm surrounded by it, the way I see it is I just keep showing up. It's bound to happen for me too.
Yeah, part of that sticking to it is establishing yourself. Yeah. I mean, it's not a joke necessarily, but like how many times are Will and I sitting here like, 19 years ago? It's like, well, there was a year 1, and there was a year 2, and there was a year 3. Like you just gotta establish yourself. And we were young guys too, and we started all this. But you have to establish yourself, and it takes time for people to trust you and build that reputation of trustworthiness, especially when you're working in an area that's as tight as Chula Vista is. Like everyone kind of knows everybody,
yes,
or at least they've kind of heard of you, or they're gonna find out like super quick. If if you're a ghost to somebody, they're gonna find out pretty quick because you're only 1 or 2 steps away from almost everybody in this gosh darn town.
Yeah, even when I did mortgages, like I would be at the gym and people would be like, "Oh, Mortgage Mike." Yeah, they just know. Because you're right. Word gets around so quick, and Chula Vista is so small out here. So,
well, I have a question for you actually. What is something that you learned while you were working with Will, like day in and day out, that you think about often, that you reflect on? You go, you know what? I learned that in that season of my life.
I think of course, I took away a lot of loan knowledge that still helps me on the realtor side of things. I think that gives me a heads up on a lot of other new realtors, because a lot of other new realtors start as realtors. They don't have this background that I have, and I have a deeper understanding of it. But I would say the biggest thing I took away that I use day to day is just how to manage my day. I mean, I remember when I see Will or Brian go to work, I don't see them missing things during the day, or, oh, I didn't do this. I'll just do it tomorrow. I mean, of course it happens here and there. It happens to everyone, but I don't really see that. And I think the biggest thing I took away is just the work ethic.
It's like the discipline.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, you're kind of like circling around that word. I don't want to suggest that one on you, but is that kind of it?
I would say yeah. It's a discipline for sure.
Yeah.
So one of the things that you told me a couple months before was that someone shared with you the way you do something is the way that you do everything, and as that silly as it was that we laughed about it, you actually embody that, and I actually really admire about that. You like, where did that grow? Because I know you were in wrestling before. I mean, you're regimented to your working out. Like, how does that help you in in your regular life and business?
Well, I would say like the main thing that's changed from before to now, having a better year now, is whether it's this or you're playing a sport, whatever it is. I remember Will told me, he said, people want to get away from pain more than they want to get to just some pleasure or whatever. So I think when you get to a point where, let's say you're playing a sport and you haven't won, or you're doing this and you haven't done a lot of deals, you just get to a point where you don't you don't care like what it takes anymore, and that's why I try to carry in here. Whether, let's say for example, I always door knock. If it's hot outside, I don't care. I'll go. I cold call. If I don't want to call, I'll still do it. If I don't want to do an open house on the weekend, I'll usually still do it.
Yeah.
So I remember many months ago, probably maybe over a year ago, I was telling you that the same characteristics and traits that it takes to be good in the gym is what it takes good to be in business. Like doing the consistency of the things that may be unfun to do, but they produce the results. Like that's the thing you have to do.
And it's so true, but I feel like people don't really want to understand that just because it's hard. If you don't want to do it,
well, the reps are hard because
you
you don't always see the results right away. Number one, you got to do a lot of them. Number two, and it's not necessarily like fun all the time. But now there are fun aspects of this work, absolutely. But like sitting in if you're at the gym and you're just banging out reps, dude, it's like, okay, yeah, this is kind of painful. It's uncomfortable. I'm hot. I don't really want to be here. I'm tired, but I'm gonna see that like result later. Like there's a lot of similarity in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same with the business too.
It's like 3 months you start, 6 months later you're a little bit better, and then 9 months later you're like, oh crap, a year in you're like, yo, I can now do this, and you start adding more stuff to your business. So where do you see yourself, in the next 6 to 12 months, bro?
In the next 6 to 12 months, like I would say as far as an income goal in the next 6 to 12 months, I'd like to clear at least 150 this year.
Nice.
I feel like that'd be for some people, maybe as an entrepreneur, it's not that great, but for me, that'd be like my first milestone in my career.
That's good.
So that's something I really want to shoot for. And it's not all about money, but it's just the goal I have. And I would say in 12 months, I eventually want to get to a point where I'd like to close a certain amount of volume per month, every month. That number being 2 million every month. Of course, it's a big goal. I'm not there yet, but it's something I'm shooting for sure.
Definitely attainable, bro.
Yeah, because if I'm shooting for that, then the income goal just comes with it.
Yeah,
as a byproduct.
it's a byproduct. Yeah,
exactly.
So let's get into like the nitty gritty. What is it that you really like about real estate, and what is it that you don't like?
What I do like about real estate is it gives me the freedom to not always do what I want, but kind of have the flexibility to arrange things in a manner where it does work for my schedule and I'm not on anyone else's time. Of course, serving the client will always come first. I'll always be on their time. I'll always make that exception for the client. But for the most part, I just like the flexibility it gives me. And, so I'm 24 right now, and I can't imagine being 24 in a W-2 job being able to make 150 a year. Like I just don't really see that happening. I don't know what industry you'd have to be in. Maybe if you're like an engineer or something, sure, but for me, someone who went to school for business, that's just super unrealistic at 24. So it's all, it's also the income, but that's the stuff that everyone talks about. But what I really, really like, and what I used to think wasn't such not a huge deal, but I'd never really thought about was the client experience. Because I hadn't done that many deals, and a lot of the deals I did were remote because I was wholesaling.
Yeah,
so I never.
There was no client to.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like I really had that relationship with the client, got to see them at the end and see how happy they were. Yeah, they could tell me over the phone, but it's always different in person. So getting to do that now in San Diego and see the joy in people's face when they purchase or when they sell, or even when you do little things for them, like hire the movers when they're moving, like, and how grateful they are. It's like, okay, that feels good.
That's
awesome.
That's what I was going to say. It sometimes feels better than cashing in that check, although the check is great, don't get me wrong, but the satisfaction of like, damn, I went above and beyond. These persons really like appreciate me and the work that I've done and the time that I put in. And then they say, hey, Michael was great. You guys have to go help my friend. You guys have to go help. And it just opens the door to be able to, grow your business by just doing the right thing, being a good person, and just, delivering the service that you agree to.
Yeah. And I would always hear from people who are doing good, just focus on the client experience and the rest will come. But it's so true.
Yep.
And because of that, I take pride in not just doing the deal, but earning my commission, helping the client every step along the way and actually giving them the experience that they should be getting.
And I attribute that a lot to Will as well, because when I first came in, he still is very passionate about what he does, his clients, his files. Like, some people might think about it's over passionate, but no, he just really cares and has a huge heart. And, working with them over the years, that really just, translates over to me in the way that I do business. And it's like, you focus on the client, like the paycheck is going to be there. It's like the client first. Always.
Yeah. That's the most important thing in any deal.
Yeah. No, I think it's also important. Again, I'm just say this like the elder in the room, like especially when you're young and starting a career like this, where your reputation and your customer service is part of it. Like you're helping someone achieve a milestone in their life. Now, you closing a transaction could still feel like a transaction, but attaining that milestone with them means something, because then them having that experience and then you having that by multiples of 10s and 20s and 30s, that helps you get your milestone. You stated your milestone a couple minutes ago, which is tangible, but that milestone is the accumulation of their milestones along the way. And so it's not necessarily distorted because like you're not as happy as they are. I'm happy for you. Absolutely. I'm ecstatic because you play a part of them achieving their dream. A lot of times it's people buying their first house or their first investment home or whatever. And you're right there for it. It's like you're a coach on the sidelines and they just scored the winning touchdown.
Yeah. And when I was younger in the industry, I'd hear that and I would hear the words, but I wouldn't really understand it.
It wasn't real.
Yeah, and I would think like, you need a lot of deals. You just need a lot of deals, like kind of like a churn and burn mindset.
Yeah.
But what I've come to realize is, if you just really care about the client, it's like that one client that could be like a quarter of your income for the year. So
sure.
It's like if you take care of them, it'll come back to you tenfold.
Turn and burn kind of sounds like leaning out. Yeah. I'm just going to toss that out there, Triangle. What do you think? Is that pretty similar? I don't know. That's why I'm asking this guy.
Yeah, I'll probably start using that.
I'm in the gym doing some turn and burn. Maybe you could get me on one of those routines because I'm over here.
I'll send it to you after the podcast.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So, Mikey, how do you like being on a team compared to, you having the ability to go on your own? What was it that made you want to join a team?
So I know if you really want to get good at something, the best way to do it is find someone that's already doing it at the level you want to be at and just emulate them, shadow them, just do it how they did it. Mm-hmm. So I think, being on a team, the biggest thing is, because of course, you could be a solo agent. Maybe your split's better as a solo agent, sure. But how good is that if you're not doing deals consistently, if you're not getting better as an agent, if you're not constantly learning how to be a better agent, And those are priceless things I get from the team that people don't understand. Because people tell me all the time, like, and I won't say what my split is right now, but I'll tell people my split and they're like, oh, really? Like, this team offers this team offers this. But what they don't see is that the intangibles that I get from being on a team, like how to become a better agent.
I feel, and
stuff.
You can get a high split and be on your own all day long, but sometimes what you're getting in return for that is you're getting that scalable, accelerated growth that you can only get by experience.
And that's the thing. It's like how good is that split if you're only doing 2 deals a year?
People in the comments will be like, "Spoken like a true owner, capitalist pig." No, it's actually how it works.
No, and it sucks because the way that you look at it is, and I can guarantee you that a lot of the people that don't like that their split is a certain way or they don't like where they're at, they're probably not taking advantage of the things that they're being provided. Therefore, they're like, well, why am I getting this split? Well,
sure.
If you use what they're providing you, it'd be a lot different.
Sorry, great point. Because if I'm giving you something for 30% or whatever, and you're not using it, don't come back and complain about it either. Like I'm gonna hold my ground on that.
Yeah, because it's you know what you were getting into. This is what we were providing.
Well, but it's not just about knowing and not knowing. It's about maximizing and optimizing it. Like if I'm offering you training and I'm offering you assistance and guidance and mentorship, and you don't take that, that's 100% on you. Because if it's being offered, it's not what's offered. It's not only if it's offered versus unoffered.
No.
It's like if I'm offering it and you're not taking it, that's on you all day. Mm-hmm. I can't make it's that whole lead a horse to water, but can't make him drink thing.
Yeah.
So it's like it's funny because I'm chiming in real hard right now because I've experienced this when I was younger and also through the years where it's like, oh yeah, they have this split over here and that's what that's fine. What do you give for it though? Because if I'm not going to use it, then I don't care. Yeah. But if I'm going to use it, then I'm going to also use 100% of what I'm getting too.
Yeah, and vice versa. Like, if you're playing the split and you're not getting what what you think you deserve, then that's something that you should look into as well.
Yeah, I think the big thing is like why that comes up so often is I think a lot of people do get into entrepreneurship because they think like me. Like, for example, I got into it because I thought, I don't want to be someone's employee. I don't want to be told what to do. I don't want to join the military, even though it's great because I don't want to be told where to live and constantly be told what to do.
And now you're getting told what houses to show.
That's orders all day long.
It's different. I don't work for them.
They're not my employer. But people get into entrepreneurship, and I feel like they bring that ego into entrepreneurship. So then when they, let's say, join a team and they hear something they don't like or whatever it is in the training, that training was worthless. I'm not buying into it. I don't need that. I'm already doing that. That doesn't work. It's like Yeah, if you're going to come into it with that attitude, then don't be on a team with a split because you're not going to take any value from it. But if you really buy into it, I mean, the results speak for themselves. It's like they wouldn't be preaching it if it wasn't working, you know?
No, definitely.
So let's use that as a launch point to talk about your current team, because I know there is a lot of training, first of all. I know that the team is intentionally very cohesive, and even behind the scenes kind of passing through, I hear, see, and notice things. And even in my own conversations with Mike, like, I know he is very focused on team unity, but also information, like the depth of information, the quality, the consistency. Like, Mike's a solid business guy.
Absolutely.
So talk to me a little bit about some of those tangible benefits you've noticed already since having been on his team that you're really benefiting from right now.
So the biggest thing that I've taken away from Mike, and of course, you know, I learned so much from you guys too. You know, obviously I'm still in office with you guys, and I'm with you guys almost every day. So I still learn from you guys, of course. But the biggest thing I've learned from Mike is the biggest thing that's changed is just up here. Like, I don't know why, but before, I mean, maybe it's age too, or maybe it's just being around guys like Mike, Kevin M, Thomas Valdez, those guys. Before, if something was hard, or let's say, I don't know, I had the door knock and it's hot outside, I might feel, oh, it's hot. I might start complaining, oh, it's hard, it sucks. But now with Mike, the biggest thing he's instilled in me is if this is the goal, who cares about what comes in between? Who cares how hard it is? Who cares if it sucks? You just do it. You don't complain. You just don't make an excuse. You just do it.
He's not letting that pass. No, Mike's like, I don't care.
Exactly.
But you're talking to a dude who did like 500 flips in like 24 months or something. So it's like, you're not going to get away with that. You're not going to get away with that at all.
Exactly. And I've done that with Mike before.
and
that was his reaction. It was kind of like, okay, like, do you have the goal or not?
It's you know, it's crazy because, you know, the environment that you're at plays a big part of, you know, who you are, how you become, and, you know, your influence. And I think all those three guys are very level-headed, very calm. And whenever there's, you know, issues or altercations, they're very, very strategic and calm about how they maneuver through certain things. And I think that helps out a lot, because in this industry, it's almost like solving problems 24/7. There's going to be fire. There's going to be emotions that get raveled. But you, as the leader of that ship, needs to know how to control those emotions, control your own emotions, to then be able to translate that energy over. Because it might be a really, you know, hectic situation, but you have to do your best to diffuse it and transfer that over to the client. So I think I've definitely seen that in you, in the way that you talk, the way that you deliver yourself, and overall carry out transactions that we have with clients as well.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of great mentors out there, but, you know, it's just about finding the right mentor for you. And like how you mentioned, you know, those guys are all level-headed, able to handle fires, you know, without screaming their head off. And for someone like me who, I mean, my emotion does get the best of me sometimes. I mean, quite often, you know. So that's why I need a mentor like that, and that's why my mind has changed so much, because I mean, it's just a different mindset, and I see it works.
Some of that comes with caring, though. Like if you're going through it and you're like being indifferent, like that's a really bad sign. Like that's like flashing red light. Get out now, because if you're indifferent about this, like you ain't gonna cut it.
Yeah, and I think it's a little bit different when you're frustrated because you want to do the right thing, or you want to control the thing that you know you need to get done, and that's just, I think, being passionate about your work. There's nothing wrong with that, but there is just ways to channel that energy in a certain way where it's going to give you the best outcome without having your emotions get in it and skew your decisions or your choices.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's the consistency of that too, like knowing, okay, this is a situation or the circumstance when I can stretch out into, oh my gosh, this is really getting to me kind of, and then keeping it like right down the straight and narrow for the rest of the time, and being able to go in between those places actually is really critical for staying on your feet, because you don't know what's going to happen every day. Like you're going to walk in here, phone rings, text, email, and it could be a problem. It could be a solution that you're waiting on. Like there's so many variety of emotions that could run through every single day.
It's such a reactionary industry that like you have to be at least leveled up here to be able to, you know, control what it is that you can.
Well, there's so many people involved. Like one time, I know we're just like kind of like counting on one of the shows. We're like, you know, okay, in an escrow, how many people does a loan officer talk to? And you're like, okay, we got the AMC for the appraiser, you got the home inspector, title, escrow, processor, assistant,
transactions,
realtor, transaction coordinator. You're like, okay, hold on, we're already like at 10. Okay, this is a lot of relationships to manage in a project management type style window, and that can get to people after a while.
Yeah, and I'm glad that Brian brings up, you know, you are a product of your environment, because when I am in those situations and I feel myself, you know, like the old me coming out, like, oh, like I'm gonna get stressed out. Like I'm
just gonna walk out angry.
Yeah, which I've done here before, like a handful of times.
I heard it. The steps were very quick to
well, Mikey, where are you going?
There was a pitter patter out the front door.
But when I feel, you know, like that old me coming out, I just think like, how would Mike handle this? How would Kevin handle this? How would Thomas handle this? And I think,
You're like, I should probably shut up. Huh?
yeah, and I think they wouldn't be handling it like this. So it definitely helps a lot. I mean, just being around people who I see are doing it every day, who are successful. I mean, and that I talk to pretty often. It just helps a lot, and it's helped a lot with my mindset, and that's been the biggest change.
That's an awesome compliment, dude. Because
Yeah.
they I know that they work hard at that too.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, it's not just drilling scripts and working on the company and all that. It's actually putting that into practice and then letting that be kind of a mentorship guide
Yeah.
to you, because that's gonna help. That's gonna serve you so well for a long time.
No, and I'll piggyback off that. Like my experience here at Mortgage Heroes, having Andy and Will, like has accelerated a lot of my growth because of the fact that I've gone through certain things that they could, get me through or give me advice on how to get through certain things. So it actually just helps your growth, your career, and it's really good to have people behind you that more than anything care about you. They want to see you do good, and then if you guys are able to do good together as a collective whole, dude, that's huge. And the one thing I do appreciate about this is that we do see this like a legacy for all our kids, for the future of our families, and that's one of the things that has made me not want to go anywhere, because I'm like, I'm here at family. Like, it's not about the money, it's not about this status, this fame. It's about, well, what are we doing for the people that are coming after us? And with that message in mind, waking up every day, coming to work here, it's a completely different feeling, and it's just an excitement.
Yeah, and that's how I feel about being on my team. I mean, once again, it's like, maybe other teams have this and this, but is it really gonna benefit me like how it's benefiting me right now and everything I'm getting right now? Are they gonna care like how they care right now?
I think there's like this assessment you do like in the present. Oh, this is what's happening. This is what's going on. And then there's like that visioneering looking forward. What are they talking about in their pursuit of their own milestones in the next 12 months, 24 months, 36 months? Yeah. Like if we're not sitting around talking about that as a company, then I would say there's probably no one at the wheel. Right. Yeah. So we have to talk about in 3 years, we kind of want to be here. In 5 years, we kind of want to be here. Mm-hmm. Now, neither one of you knew I was going to bring this up. But back in like 2019, I was sitting over at this desk behind this wall, and I was writing out a 5-year plan for Mortgage Heroes. And I was like, I think it was by 2022, I said I want to be in at least 5 states, including like Texas and Florida and a couple others. And I think by 23 or 24, I said I want to be like across the nation. That was one of our goals. And here we are now,
right?
Across the nation.
Here we are now by 2024. I'll have to go back and look at the exact time frame, but
it was because we geared up to do that 5-year plan.
Yeah, and COVID changed a lot of that in the middle, and we had to like retime some things.
Yeah.
But my point in that is being around a team that you can assess the present and then also identify where am I in the future of this as well. It helps you go somewhere. Like I don't ever get in my car and go, oh, well, I'm just not going. I'm just going to drive around aimlessly and not know where I'm going. No, I have a destination. I know how long it's going to take me to get there, and I'm going to go to all the different checkpoints along the way to get where I'm going.
One of the things that I will bring back from that, I feel that in that 5-year plan, although we didn't hit every milestone, we in a way did catch up a lot of those, or did hit a lot of those markers. And the point that I'm trying to get across is that if you have a sense of direction, a plan, you're likely to get further, accomplish more than if you're just driving around, going around and trying to figure something out.
That, and I guess maybe this, I'll ask Mikey if you agree or disagree with this. I would not change the way it happened.
No.
Looking back now, like I wouldn't change, I had it written out this way, and then it's like the massive change happened. Well, I would not look back now and go, I wish it would have looked different. Like, I'm so happy with how things have happened. Like, part of that kicked off our entire studio rebuild right here. It did our entire office remodel, and that then kicked off, we're going to start the show.
Yep.
And then we're going to start this and that. And so I don't look back and regret any of that time at all, because it still landed us here where we were going to be anyways.
Yes.
So do you feel like that's similar for you too? Like, he's like, you're putting me on the spot about my time in Mortgage Heroes. Did I regret it?
No, it's okay if you did.
Do you look back at all and go, wow, I'm totally satisfied with how I still ended up in the place that I am?
Like, thank God I left.
Yeah. The thing is, like, if I was
switched, not left, switched.
If I was never here, I mean, I never
true.
would have met Mike. If I was never here, I never would have
true.
found out.
That's so true.
If I was never here, I would have never found out what wholesaling was. So I mean, everything was a chain reaction. And I mean.
Yeah, we'll send you a contract for royalties.
But it's funny because your story even goes at the top of the show. You're talking about being at the gym, and that's where you met Will.
Yeah,
like that was you guys at the gym. So it goes even upstream to all the way to there.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm like anyone. Like I've had a ton of bad experience in life and a ton of great experiences, but every experience makes you who you are today. And since I'm in a better spot now, I could say, I don't really regret anything. Everything happens for a reason.
That's what I always think back. Like, if I didn't go through this, would I still be like this, or would I be different? But then again, I'm like, I wouldn't have changed it because I enjoy how I am. I love how I am. I love where I'm at right now, and it's part of like taking the good with the bad and understanding it, and just learning from there, because opportunities will arise and the same problem will come in your life multiple times until you figure it out. And each time I realize that if I don't nip it in the butt, it only comes stronger and harder until you like learn the lesson. It's like God, like, hey, you, how long do you want to be here for? Hey, this is your own doing. Like I have the plan for you. Just take the right steps. And I think that's one of the biggest things and the biggest takeaways that I could take from a lot of everything that we do here is just keep going, get up, because it's gonna be hard, it's gonna be difficult. But same thing, like last year was one of the most difficult years of my career, and at times I felt like I'm like, dude, do I really want to do this? Am I really like? And you just got to keep going, and you keep going, and it gets better and better and better. And I had conversations with Andy, like, yo, Andy, I'm like this, I'm feeling like this. And things do get better, although it's going to be a tough road. It's going to be a lot better to say, hey, I went through this tough road than, hey, what if I would have just, inched a little bit more, stayed a little bit longer, and live with the regret. I just could not do that.
That consistency is so underrated because I mean, I think we've talked about it before. We live in like a microwave society where everyone wants something instantly. Like, I remember I had a buddy of mine, and he's also an entrepreneur. He does stuff with cars, but I was telling him how I door knock as a realtor to get listings and things like that. And I mean, like it sucks some days. Like yesterday was like 90 degrees. I was only 10 houses in. I was already dripping sweat. Yeah. But it's like, it's what it takes.
You made it to house number 10? House number 2.
But
I went door knocking with you the other day. I was like, Brian, where you at? Hot fudge.
But he told me, we were talking about it, and he's like, I tried that, but it didn't work. And I was like, well, how long did you do it? He's like 2 weeks. I was like, bro, try 2 years and then see what happens.
That's how I felt when I started doing a lot of videos, like back in 2017. For the longest, like 3 years, people were like, what are you doing? I'd go out, people would be like, why do you do your videos like that? You're not like that. We know who you are. And a lot of the times I felt like, yo, they're right. Or, it would get to me. But at the same time, I'm like, nah, I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it. And fast forward to, years later, videos, social media is like the best way that I generate my business. And I'm like, I own it. I love it. And it took a lot of consistency. I look back at the videos back then. I'm like, like energy's there, tonalities and ups and downs, definitely not there. but that gives me confidence. And it lets you know that if you keep going, you're going to get better. Like I've seen so many people do videos from when they start, and some keep going to the point that I'm like, I'm looking at them on social media like, yo, you got it a lot better. And when you started, you weren't the best. Neither was I. Nobody was the best at anything that they started at the beginning.
Of course.
But keep going. You can accomplish and get better at anything. It's like, it's so crazy.
I feel like a big roadblock for a lot of other entrepreneurs, and I'm saying just entrepreneurs in general, not just young realtors like myself, is listening to people that are outside the industry. Because I mean, if someone's not doing this, why would you take advice from them? Like I'm not gonna go tell. I don't know. I'm not going to go tell the mayor how to do his job. I don't know anything about that.
Why? So we could go down a whole rabbit hole.
I'm not going to tell someone in outside industry how to do their job because I don't know. I've never done it. So why would you take that outside negativity from someone who has never done this?
Well, I'm going to go back to the gym analogy because it's like you're talking about this friend of yours who like gave up in 2 weeks. Like how many people do that at the gym? Like I've done it at the gym. Like, oh yeah, I'm all in. Like a month later, I'm like, my time, my schedule, my blah blah blah, and I'm like, the results. You ain't going.
And people don't
no good. Too. What's that?
And people do it in this industry all the time.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's the same deal. Like you're going to quit on something in 2 weeks. Okay, well, look, I understand quitting something that's terrible and not a good fit for you. Yeah, you should quit that crap fast. Quit quick. But there's things where if you're trying to pursue and you have a specific outcome and you're dedicated and you're passionate about it, well, you got to give them more than 2 weeks, man. You got to let that thing breathe. You got to get to a month, then 3, then 6, then 12, and then get your first year under your belt and keep going.
You're probably not going to see actual true results until 9 months to a year when you really get going. But that's part of the journey because I realized that everything that I've gone through, like bad experiences with the files, obstacles that, I didn't have solutions for, you go through those tough situations, and we've all been through these things where
it's where you learn.
Where you have a week where I'm so stressed, I can barely think straight. All my mind is just on this one problem, and you're finding solutions, trying to beat yourself up. But then when you find the solution, you're like, this is never happening to me again. Because
it's so
I don't never want to feel like I felt today. And B, I have to deliver for my client because I said so.
That's that pain pain avoidance.
That
Mel's
exactly. I'm
talking
like, I
about
don't
all
want
the
that
time.
no more. I hate feeling like that.
Yeah.
So now whenever like I have a transaction,
Yeah.
what in my control can I control to make sure that I don't have that pain? My clients don't go through any
Yeah.
stress, and we can have the clearest path.
You know, people make fun of me because I'm bald. Like, that's where all my lessons come from, man. You get stressed, you start losing your hair. Like, man, I'm just learning.
He's not bald, just that's
weak.
how wise he is.
I'm just no.
He's just
every,
really smart.
every week a new problem. Every week got to come with something new. Every month it's a new challenge. It's like, dude, the hair just keeps starting. The hair keeps going. Now we're this wise.
and
But
that's-
when you come up with that solution, it's so satisfying.
so satisfying. But
knowing
that's,
that you don't just go to work, clock in, told what to do, when to come, when to go. So when you do find that solution, it's like, wow, I'm really like out here doing
and
it.
the beautiful thing about that is that once you find that solution, that problem comes again, you already know how to take care of it. But you also have to be cognizant that there's going to be more problems. There is going to be more stress. You're going to be in situations like that. But to me, I'm all like, well, I've already been in this feeling before. A problem that I thought I couldn't solve or I couldn't find a solution, it eventually works out. I think, you just have to be patient, really just think critically, use your resources, talk to the people that can guide you, give you help or as much as possible, support, and things do work out. Sometimes they don't work exactly how you think in your head, or they don't even go as bad as you freaking picture them in your mind. It just happens the way that it needs to happen. And when you're done, you're like, huh, that was a lot better than what I thought it was.
Well,
that always happens to me.
because sometimes things feel worse than they actually are.
Oh,
like our
that's
reaction to
good.
them is like, oh, the situation might not be house on fire. It just feels like it is.
Sometimes
Yeah,
feel
it's always
worse
like
than what they
in a
are.
transaction, I'll always be worried. Oh, what if this happens? What if they say this when I tell them this? And then like
Yeah, but you also
95% of
can't-
the time, it doesn't happen.
Well, that's the thing. You also can't just enter that into the thing. Take that out of the chat, bro. Don't be putting that down.
Hey, let me find out also, Mikey. You're coming back and saying, yo, Brian, why are you doing things like that? No, I've worked in mortgages. I can tell you how to do your job.
I've been here. I've done it.
No, Brian. I've done these before. Trust me.
I'm in the industry. Trust me.
Name on the shirt.
So real quick, Mikey, what outside of real estate, what do you like to do? What does Mikey like to, do for free time? What does he like to do for hobbies and stuff like that, man? Give us a little bit more of that context.
In my free time, of
like
course,
to lift.
Yeah, I do love to go to the gym. But of course, now that I don't have as much free time as when I was younger, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not like I'm working 16-hour days. I'm not gonna sit here and put up a front like that. But since I do have less free time now, I like to actually, spend more time with my family and my friends and actually enjoy it. Whereas when I was younger, I wouldn't really think about that as much just because I had so much free time, I was always with them. But now, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing that's changed is just really enjoying the company of the people I love most now.
So as you progress in your career, you're gaining more knowledge, you're earning more. What is some stuff that you look forward to being able to do, help, or, just in general, like what would you like to do? Okay, scratch that. What's going to be your biggest purchase once you're cashing your commission checks?
So, I mean, I know a lot of people, like, let's say, like, when they get that big check.
That's what I really meant. I'm sorry, bro.
Like, they say, oh, I'm going to do this, or this, like, maybe for my family. I mean, luckily, my family is in a position where there's not really anything I can do for them.
Yeah.
So, I guess my next step is I eventually want to get my own house. And it's a stressful thought because I've never done that. I've never had a mortgage or anything like that, but I would like to eventually start picking up properties and just finding good investments for my retirement as well.
Yes.
Good, Mikey.
I mean, you guys see how cyclical the industry is. It's like, what if one year I'm not doing great? It's like I want to have that there. So I'm just trying to plan ahead now, and so I'm not in that position.
That's good because staying power actually becomes your friend in the long term. It might be difficult in the short term, but then that duration, you have like really, really high paying years and years where it's a little bit more stale just because of market conditions and economics and things like that too. That all weighs into it as well. Like we've had amazing years financially, and then we've had years where like, oh, okay, we're basically just gonna do as many deals as we can this year to pay the cost of keeping the company, and then you keep the company, but then you have years where it's like 4, 5, 10 times the amount of earnings, and that's where you start stashing cash.
And the reason why I'm thinking about like the retirement and stuff is because I remember Will told me when I first started coming in, he was showing me the compound interest calculator, and he loves that thing.
Yeah,
But he told me, he's like, Mikey, if you have $8 million, you can retire and like still live good.
Yeah.
So then, ever since
you could
that
probably
day,
do it on 5. But he uses 8 all the time.
But ever since that day, that's been the magic number in my head. I'm like, dude, if I'm gonna have $8 million, I need to start ASAP.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm trying to start now and hopefully, take advantage of the compound interest that he showed me and who knows? Maybe by the time that time comes, I will have 8 million. Hopefully, if I don't, then we'll see.
You'll be fine if it's 7.5. I know you will.
Yeah, no, you'll be okay.
You'll make it.
So, Mikey, getting ready to sign off. Is there anything you want to, leave off the guests with, or anything you want to say? Where can people find you if they want to reach out to you on social media?
So my Instagram is Michael Moyna Realtor. LinkedIn is just Michael Moyna. Same with my Facebook. I also have a YouTube channel called Michael Moyna Real Estate if you want to check that out. And I would say one thing I want to leave off on is, and the biggest mindset change for me is if it's going to sound so cliche, but I hate how the cliches are always true.
Go ahead. Say it right there to the camera, and we're going to make sure we clip it for you.
If you have a goal, don't let anything stop you from accomplishing it, no matter how much it sucks, how hard it is. Just keep that goal in mind. Just keep envisioning that goal, and it'll get you there.
Thank you so much, Mikey. I appreciate that,
awesome.
bro. That was
so good.
Thank you.
Great ending, dude.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into another episode. I really appreciate you, Mikey, coming down. And please make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow us. And if you guys have any questions, please reach out to us. We will see you again. Thank you.